What is gravity?
I have no idea. Okay, next question. This is called gravity. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. This is called gravity.
Neil, I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
That's what I do. I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
What is up, everybody? John the Morgal here, coming to you live from Honea Pass, South Carolina. Today is November the 16th, 2024. I hope y'all are having a great day. Saturday. So yeah, most normal folk don't have to work today. So I hope y'all are having a good day off, or if you had to work, well, you can catch me in the archives, man. So we've got a few things that we're going to talk about today, but while y'all are still piling in, I've just got a bit of a monologue that I'm just going to recite for y'all as y'all pile into the stream. And as we approach yet another holiday season, yet another new year awaits just around the corner. The Trumpinator is set to regain control of the executive branch after a crushing defeat of the incumbent VP. Kamala used to be Indian, then she was black, now she's Indian again, Harris. Now, does this mean that we've won? Like, does this mean now we can like rest on our loins and relish the sweet victory over corruption and tyranny to the end of time? I doubt that, but what will happen with all the designs and ambitions of the deep state? You know, what will happen when that shit comes to fruition? You know, the deep state and all these black budget government programs that have been allowed to expand and run amok over the last several decades, and really especially over the last 4 years. But will the Trumpinator allow the seemingly immortal deep state to continue under his presidency? And really, I think a bigger question is, does any president even really possess the power to affect any sort of meaningful, lasting change in the deep state? And if so, does Trump possess the integrity or even the wherewithal to realize that the Federal Reserve, NASA, the Space Force, even the IRS and the CIA, etc., ad nauseum, are worthwhile of taking right to the chopping block? Not just the Department of Education, right? So we can't just end there, Trumpinator. But really, what about that Space Force? Can we really trust a president, as likable and intelligent as Trump may be or may not be, who is spending our tax dollars on space-related nonsense? I truly hope to be proven wrong on this early on. But if Trump does actually do away with the Department of Education, as he's saying he's going to do, and maybe even that, like the likes of NASA, and then begins wasting our tax money on some new and improved bureaucracy, then what was the point? You know, what's the point if you like drain the swamp and get rid of all of the giant alligators and all the pythons, and then fill that motherfucker back up with crocodiles and cottonmouths, or moccasins, cottonmouths. Moccasins. Speaking of cottonmouths, it's 420 somewhere. But really, though, if you do that, then what was the point, right? Got cottonmouth on the brain. Well, my lighter's not going to light with the fan on, but whatever. The United States military is responsible, you know, both directly and by proxy, for some of the most atrocious crimes against humanity and against nature the world over. While the average American citizen is, you know, certainly innocent of these high crimes directly, but, you know, it is our good name and our energy and our money behind these sordid war crimes, which are often done in secret, sometimes done right out in the open, and then covered up by these various government agencies who are supposed to be directly beholden to the American people. Although that concept is laughable and it's only sort of in appearance only, or by some code only. It doesn't actually exist, this, you know, them answering to the people. And, you know, when you realize that nobody holds this war machine accountable not Congress, not the House, not the Justice Department, nor really the president. They're sort of just running amok and giving carte blanche to just do whatever the hell they want. Really, it seems like nobody has jurisdiction over this beast. And this holds true regardless of which political party happens to be in power, is my point. You know, we've sort of been through this before. So I hope, and I even pray that President Trump proves me wrong here and proceeds to do all the right things and, you know, to make America great again. But I'm also not naive, and I'm also not a fucking idiot, as we've been through this sort of thing before. And, you know, it's hard to put your faith in like a billionaire, right? Because they really can't relate. Even though he did put on the McDonald's apron that day, he can't really truly relate. And so hopefully he does listen to the American people, okay? Hopefully we're not just dealing with a 4 years where he's going to get his agenda done and then fuck it. Yeah, you know what I mean? So if the new administration kicks off 2025 by actually doing away with some of these bloated, malignant government agencies, I will definitely personally get on board the Trump train, which is saying a lot because I really don't usually believe anything coming from a politician, with very few exceptions, and you know, let alone go along with them. Let alone, you know, not just not believing these motherfuckers. It's going to take a lot for me to go along with what they're saying. You know what I mean? But in my opinion, this country will never reach its true potential with the current systems in place, these current, you know, bloated, malignant bureaucracies that really get in the way of progress and get in the way of our freedom and our, you know, our pursuit of liberty and happiness or whatever. And, you know, the status quo has become this sort of worthless, arrogant cesspool of corruption. So 2025 can't be any worse than 2024. So that ends my little monologue rant here. And I just want to say welcome. And as we've started, welcome to Kristen. Kristen, how you doing? And she's on mute. So, oh, wait a minute. Did we lose Kristen? We might have lost Kristen.
Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Hey, what's up?
My computer just started hating on me like right before the stream, and I'm like, all right, then. Fuck you too.
Technology.
So, hey, everybody. I was
we had
rant.
Well, thank you. I was in the middle of putting that together about an hour ago, and then my dog had to be walked, so I had like just enough time to put together something, and I was actually going to go a little longer, but then I had to just kind of button it up in the last few minutes. But it's okay. I think it worked, and that's kind of really truly how I feel, man. I like to be optimistic about politicians, but it is a hard thing to do. That's a jagged pill to swallow.
I'll give you the thumbs up on being able to be optimistic about any of these a-holes. I hope you're right. Hopefully everybody else is right, but I'm an asshole. I can't be optimistic about it. But anyways.
Okay.
An a-hole.
So, and I think we're going to be joined by Louis B at some point. I'm not 100% sure. But, I'm sorry. I keep calling him Louis. It's Luis. Dude, I am such a gringo, bro. I'm sorry, Luis. I know he might be actually listening. I'm a gringo. I'm sorry. But really, though, I know it's Luis, and I just keep mispronouncing. I don't do it intentionally. But we're going to get him on here in a minute. And hopefully today, we're going to talk about some Sesui KV and some strawman stuff, because that's a conversation that we really got to have on here. And Louis knows way more about that shit than I do. And, Kristen weighs no more about that too. Yeah.
No, I was agreeing.
Okay, so,
I was going with it.
No, I've got my bass backwards words coming out of my mouth is what I'm saying.
Right. I hate it. That's starting to be me more days than it isn't.
So I've got an article here that I wanted to read to kick things off on this show, because I had mentioned this a few weeks ago and I had heard something about it, and I wanted to share this article with you guys because I think it's important. So let me just read through this, and then stop me if you want to comment on anything, and I will also.
No, while you're reading through that, I'll go put my chickens to bed. I'll be right back.
You put them chickens to bed. Hey, I like the legs. No, I'm kidding. Okay. This is an article from theweek.com, and this from theweek.com/environment/earth-carbon-sinks collapsing. Okay. This is by Devika Rayo. So the world's forests, plants, and soil absorbed almost no carbon in 2023, according to preliminary research from a group of international scientists. The three are considered land carbon sinks, and again, that is the forest, plants, and soil. Ah, shit! And I just clicked on that. Okay, the forest, plants, and wait, what did I say? The forests, plants, and soil. So aren't forests plants? I don't know. That's just so weird to differentiate between forest and plants. But okay. Um, so the three are considered land carbon sinks because they have the ability to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere for their natural processes. However, a rapidly warming climate may be prohibiting the carbon sinks on land from performing effectively. Okay. So sinking capabilities. Carbon sinks are sites that naturally remove potentially atmosphere damaging carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. That includes forests and oceans. Land carbon sinks exist because forests and other land ecosystems take up slightly more CO2 as they grow than they release when plants die and decompose or burn each year, said New Scientist, right? So from 2010 to 2022, the collective land carbon sink removed on average 2 gigatons of carbon from the atmosphere each year. However, in 2023, many of these so-called carbon sinks collapsed, removing only approximately 0.23 to 0.65 gigatons of carbon, the quote lowest amount since 2003 and more than 3 times lower than the average over the past decade, New Scientist said. The lowest amount since 2003. Okay, so we'll just wait a minute, just stopping that right there for just a second. So if they're saying this happened in 2003, I'm not saying that it's a good thing that it's happening again now, but it's definitely not unprecedented, because 2003 wasn't all that long ago, at least as long as I'm reading this right. So we're not dealing with something unprecedented. Contrary to popular belief, I do subscribe to science, to actual science, okay? But I am very wary of scientism, and scientism sort of like runs rampant in this whole climate change, global warming narrative, this whole conversation. And so when they start making claims about this unprecedented collapsing of the carbon sinks, but then they say these are the lowest levels since 2003, well, then it's precedented. That is literally a precedent in modern times, really in the last 20 years. That's not so alarming as I thought then, right? Now, if they would have said this is the lowest level since, 2,000 years ago, then I kind of would have called bullshit because nobody was measuring this stuff 2,000 years ago. Sure, you can take ice core samples and that sort of thing, and you can guesstimate what was going on in the past. But the thing is 2,000 years ago, there were so many unknown variables, so many unknown conditions that you can't call that sort of thing science. You can call it best guesswork. You can call it educated guesswork. But to call, authoritatively claiming what things were specifically like thousands of years ago or even hundreds of years ago before records were kept is by definition a pseudoscience. Okay. So back to the article though. Since 2003, that's what I'm looking for. The lowest amount since 2003 and more than 3 times lower than average over the past decade. So, I mean, that is startling. That can't be good, but, I wouldn't say that it's unprecedented. That's my only point. Much of the decrease is likely due to warming temperatures. Imagine your plants at home. If you don't water them, they're not very productive. They don't grow. They don't take up carbon. Stephen Sitch, a study co-author, said to Reuters, quote, "Put that on a big scale like the Amazon forest," end quote. Dipping carbon sink capacity is not rare, and factors like the El Nino climate phenomenon contribute as well. But human-caused climate change, according to this article here, is making temperatures warmer than they would get naturally, with 2023 becoming the warmest year on record. While this collapse is mostly temporary, continuous warm temperatures will make carbon sinks increasingly ineffective at counteracting emissions. Then we've got like a breaking point, okay, and this is the important part here, so pay attention. The collapse of land carbon sinks points to the substantial impact humans have had on the climate, according to this article. Quote, we're seeing cracks in the resilience of the Earth's systems, Johan Rockstrom, the director of Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, said at an event at New York Climate Week in September. We're seeing massive cracks on land. Terrestrial ecosystems are losing their carbon store and carbon uptake capacity. But the oceans are also showing signs of instability as well. In some cases, traditional carbon sinks are becoming a source of emissions instead, which that really can't be good, right? According to me. Expansion, quote, expansion of agriculture has turned tropical rainforests in Southeast Asia into a net source of emissions in recent years, said The Guardian. Emissions from soil, which is the second largest active carbon store after the oceans. These emissions from soil are expected to increase by as much as 40% by the end of the century if they continue at the current rate, end quote. So, you know, I mean, if true, that's a bit scary. And, you know, it reminds me of one of those prophecies where, you know, in our ignorance, mankind is going to poison their very inheritance, right? Because, you know, like we've been given everything freely by the creator, like everything. The potentialities are limitless, right? Like we've been given just an awesome realm to basically shape as we please with the blessing of the most high creator of all things. But somewhere along the lines, this shit got hijacked, and now like these systems that have been these anti-human and you know anti-creator systems have been put in place. They're literally poisoning everything, like they're poisoning the earth itself. And if this is correct, and you know, I don't just believe everything I read in an article, right? But if this is true, if what they're claiming is true, that's pretty scary. You know, if the Amazon rainforest is actually becoming a source of CO2, you know, too bad we really got to burn all of these fossil fuels in order to make our cars go and to heat our houses, right? Got to do it because there's no alternative, right? There is no such thing as free energy. Even though we live within a free energy device that is the earth, and these big mega corporations that profit from, you know, the oil industry and whatnot, they have been burying these technologies to keep us from, you know, benefiting from free energy. They want to get rich off of us, right? So they'd rather poison the earth and destroy everyone's future so that they can get a few points extra return on their dividends. That's crazy. You know, to say that this shit isn't being run by at least psychopaths, you know, at best, and at worst, literal fucking demons. You know, the case for either is, you know, pretty easy to make. You know, I'd hate to be the one arguing against those cases, honestly. So if that's true, that's pretty scary. Okay. Many climate models have failed to consider carbon sink collapses and emissions projections. If this collapse were to happen again in the next few years, we risk seeing a rapid increase in CO2 and climate change beyond what the models predict. Philippe Caius, one of this study's authors, said to Le Monde, this could mean that the dire climate consequences may occur sooner than previously thought, right? because all of these climate change models that they've been predicting, like when the oceans are going to start like boiling or whatever, like whenever we hit that sort of critical point of no return, they were all based on models, or they were all based on the assumption that these carbon sinks, like the rainforest, were going to continue absorbing and processing carbon out of the atmosphere. Okay. But so what they're saying is, if this is true, then all of those models are wrong, because now, according to this data, the carbon sinks are basically spitting the poison back up into the atmosphere as opposed to processing them. So, we've gotten to the point now where, drill baby drill has gotten us into the situation where, like, we literally might not have a future for the grandkids. Okay. Now, I'm not some sort of an alarmist believer in climate change or global warming, but I do know that I do understand chemistry, and I do understand, thermodynamics and all that. And CO2 in the atmosphere heats things up. Now, of course, we do have natural systems in place on the Earth to deal with that sort of thing. But if those systems stop functioning properly and kicking CO2 back into the atmosphere, that's a problem. Like it fucks up all the projections, is the point, right? So this could mean that the dire climate consequences may occur sooner than previously thought. Nature has so far balanced our abuse, but this appears to be coming to an end. So so that's that. Because again, I did mention this whole thing about the climate. The carbon sinks starting to fail, and so there's a little bit more information on that. Let me know what you guys think about that in the chat, because I know that climate change is a sort of a hot button issue. People go either way on that, right? For a long time, for many years, I was really worried about global warming. But when you see that, like, what was it in the 1980s? Like the whole thing was global cooling, right? Because the temperatures were trending downward. It can't be good to be pumping CO2 and other, way more toxic, unnatural chemicals into the atmosphere. I mean, that can't be good for the environment. But we can definitely do something about this, y'all. This is one of those things that's so easily solvable if we could just do something sensible about it. What do you think there, Kristen, about the carbon sinks collapsing and climate change in general? What you think? Huh? Okay, so I guess I'm riding solo on this one, you guys. All right, that's fine. Okay, so let me know let me check in the chat. What do y'all think about this? Like, a lot of y'all are way more well versed and way more well researched into climate change than I am, for sure. What do y'all think? What's up, Westy AUT? How about it, my man?
I apologize. I so apologize.
No, you good. You good.
Now,
oh, that's right. I forgot. You was you was out with the chickens. Yeah, I forgot.
Okay, hold on. Let me get this.
So Barbarossa says CO2 isn't unnatural. No, that was my point, Barbarossa, is that we have CO2 and other unnatural chemicals. So I wasn't like putting them in the same category
what
with
are we
CO2.
discussing? The carbon problem, quote unquote.
Yeah. So like, so the article I just read is basically they're saying that the carbon sinks, so like the rainforests and the different plants that generally absorb and process carbon are now not only failing to absorb the carbon, but they're actually feeding carbon back into the system.
Oh yeah,
maybe because they're on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, in the UK, they're trying to tell people in the UK that their gardens are producing the worst, the greenhouse gases, carbon, whatever. Basically, they can't garden anymore because it's bad for the environment. So they tell you one thing your whole entire life, and then bend you over and whatever. I guess I'm sure there's a nicer
Well,
way
no.
of saying it.
So
But
this
the
is so
carbon, Bill
this is
Gates is trying to fucking do a thing. They're building the thing to like push it all underground and all this good shit. So basically, they're gonna suffocate us. Because I mean, if there's not enough carbon in the atmosphere, the plants can't live. I mean, they'll end up dying, and I don't know how long you go without breathing, but I'm pretty sure I'm definitely not a Guinness Book World Record holder. And even if I were, I think that's only like 10 minutes. So I mean,
right.
yeah, the whole
Well, no,
carbon
but
thing
so
is they just want to get rid of us.
But so specifically on this article, so like what they're saying is, and I had heard something about this before, and I really don't know what to make of it. But okay, so like in all of the projections for the future of the climate, they always just assume that the rainforests are going to continue to absorb carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen, right? That's what they do. And so all those projections are based on that continuing
Yeah,
on at the
yeah, of
same
course.
rate that it normally does. But so
Right.
now, according to what these scientists are saying, is that the rainforests are failing to do that. So they're not absorbing CO2. Like I don't see how you could ever tell that. Like honestly, I'd love to know how they fucking measure for
Right.
this. But
Yeah.
so I don't know. Like it's just to me, I don't know what to make of it. I'm very wary about any sort of
Yeah. Well, I
these sort of
mean,
grandiose.
supposedly the percentage, this was just from a supposed a few months ago, where they were checking it, and there's only 4.25%, I think, carbon in the atmosphere supposedly. And if that's true, that's dangerously low. I mean, let's say that like the dinosaur ages were like whatever, all that good stuff. It was a carboniferous where like there was so much CO2, and the plants were wild and the insects were huge and all that good shit. I mean, I guess I'm really just saying that to reinforce that they've just been telling us the exact opposite for so long. That yeah, plenty of carbon is just fine.
Well,
And
but
yeah, I think the
so
plants are doing
here's
their job. I mean, why would they just stop doing their job, for God's sakes, besides being on fire?
well, right. And so I didn't think of that. So maybe that's part of it. But so here's another thing though. So like the carbon dioxide that we're breathing out, that can't be the same thing as the carbon wind produced by burning coal, right? It's like when you burn coal, that's carbon monoxide, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I
Right.
believe so.
Yeah, I
I
believe it is too. So like, isn't there? And again, I'm no chemist, but I think that there's probably a big difference in the carbon monoxide than the carbon dioxide. I don't
Well,
think plants can process that the same way. I don't
right.
think.
Well, I mean, is coal? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but is coal not the remnants of a bunch of plants and all that compressed into like wood? I'm sure the plants mainly. Well, yeah, wood is plants,
2 hits.
but yeah, well, carbon is carbon compressed. So I mean, oh, you're now I got a brain fart.
No, my
I was
wife's
trying
over
to.
here on oxygen, slapping me in the arm, telling me to roll her a cigarette. So I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta take a break and roll this sick old woman a cigarette.
Stop. It's not like
No, I was listening to you. Go ahead.
Sick old women need
It's not
cigarettes
like
too.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, there might be some weed in
Well,
that one, dude. Oh,
you
there you go.
know,
That's good.
do you ever? I don't know if anybody here ever listens to Stinky Cash or whatever, but
Yeah, I just
he
watched one.
was
I just watched the video where he had that run-in with the law today. I
yeah.
just watched that a while ago.
when he finally walks off, they're like, thank goodness. But he's
Right.
right. Yeah. But no, he like brought up something I had always thought about too. I guess if I had made videos, I probably would have made one too, maybe even about the same time, about the asteroids the size of, and it's always animals or some oddball like measurement. Well, it's not a measurement at all. It's like how many bowling balls it is, or how many walruses,
Right.
or how many ants. It's ridiculous. And that's way off topic, but I was just thinking about that there a little bit ago and chuckling about it. Well, I figured while you're rolling cigarettes, I could improv here. It's terrible. But now on the carbon thing,
Oh,
though,
there
it's
you go.
climate change. Yeah, the whole bullshit. I mean, yeah, the climate changes. That's what it does. I mean, it's called the seasons and stuff. But obviously, what it's doing and has been doing isn't anything that could be just the average Joe's particular.
Well, but I mean, again,
I mean, like termites.
Digging up coal and burning that has got to be different than, you know, a cow fart.
Oh well, yeah. Oh, and they just want to get rid of the meat. There's cows and meat too. They're just making up any excuse to starve us to death. I mean, I think it was the 20 agenda. What is it called? Not Agenda 2025, but the oh my god, I was just talking about this yesterday. Oh, whatever the 2025. They were trying to associate it with Trump, but this it basically sounded like Agenda 2030 on crack, but sped up and it was called Agenda 2025 or something of that nature. But I mean, I was reading some of it. Now, I wasn't reading the act from their website or whatever, but I mean, I imagine well, at least I hope they were quoting the article. But anyways, I digress.
I
It said that
just
they
hope the
hope that
pendulum doesn't.
people will like suicide themselves more or less. They're just hoping people will kill themselves to save the planet. This coming
Oh
year.
yeah. I mean, hopefully the pendulum doesn't swing that far in the other direction, you know, because okay, so Trump has a lot of supporters. The opposition, you know, Kamala was just like the definition of evil. Like, could you imagine if that crazy thing would have won? Oh my God, it would have been a nightmare, honestly. But the thing is like we can't just because the guy that a lot of people wanted to win, just because he won doesn't mean that he can do no wrong. Okay, we can't just allow him to do whatever the fuck he wants. And it's like if they start pushing through Agenda 2025 or whatever it is items because Trump's in, like we can't let that happen. Like I don't know, man. I just see this going way wrong, dude. Like
oh yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering if they're gonna try and like use him as to keep like blaming him for things like we were talking about the National Guard. They're trying to take away the governor's ability to govern the National Guard and send him off to the Space Force and this and that, and they're trying to get it through quick before his inauguration. So are they planning to have
I was trying to find something on that. Do you have like an article or a source or anything that we could share? Because I am interested, but I couldn't find, like I found some mentions of the National Guard and the Space Force, but I couldn't find anything pertaining to like the National Guard being folded into the Space Force.
JWTV was the one where I was, but I mean, he pulled up the documents though. Let me see if I can. Yeah,
I'm not saying it's not true.
No, it was on.
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I can't find anything to support it, and I'd love to know more about it. You know what I mean?
I know there was an actual article too that was he started out with that, and it was called. Oh man, it was.
Well, if you can find it, then like send a link or something because it's that would be super interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I like backing up the shit that comes out of my mouth really with some sort of
no, that's fine. But yeah, like I'd love, but and I didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to interrupt you, but at the same time, like I can't find anything on that. Like, but I'd love to know more. But so
it
like
was in
not
the
like
NDAA Act, the upcoming NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. They're trying to jam it in there. Oh my goodness, my vocabulary. The part instead the section where the governors won't have control of their National Guard. So NDAA. Okay. I am looking right this second. Okay. And I missed when I could do 92 words per minute.
Yeah. Okay, so and hold that thought. So what I'll do, we'll loop back to that and just try to see what you can find on that. In the meantime, I'm gonna skip over to there's a pretty big kerfuffle that's going on right now between NASA and Roscosmos on the LISS.
Oh yeah.
So okay,
I've
so
heard,
there's
something about that. Let me shut up.
No, you're good. Okay. I'm gonna read from this article, and if you can find anything on that, the National Guard and the Space Force thing, send me a link. Okay, so this is from spacenews.com. We source these guys a lot because these guys are like, official space. They're globetrotters, man. They're professional globetrotters. Okay. Yeah. So this is spacenews.com. Washington. NASA and Roscosmos continue to disagree on the cause and severity of an air leak in the Russian segment of the International Space Station, one that NASA worries could lead to a catastrophic failure as part of a Russian module. Or I'm sorry, a catastrophic failure of part of a
I
Russian module.
apologize. Did you just say air leak?
Yeah, air leak. Yeah, then you have a leak.
Oh, hey, I have this. I'll send the link.
You found it?
Can
Okay,
I post
cool.
it here somewhere? No, I can't. Can I?
Yeah, no, you totally can. There's a so if you go over to Riverside and then look at the right hand side, there should be chat, the second one down.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And then in chat, then you can, once you click on that, then you can click on
live stream chat or studio chat. Well, wait, live stream chat, right?
The studio, do the studio chat.
Okay,
that'll
gotcha.
be back end. Yeah.
Okay, let me go copy. Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and actually that's cool. So once I get this, I will we'll loop back to the one we were just reading because I am interested to know about this. Okay, hold on. So now if I can find it, here we go.
Oh, what just happened?
Oh, I can't use that feature. Yeah, I just can't use that. So I'm gonna have to upgrade Riverside to use the group chat. That's fucking crazy.
Aww.
Put it in the live stream chat. I'll see it there too.
Okay, there we go.
It's in the it's right like if you go back from studio chat.
Yeah, no, I see.
And go back. Yeah.
Let me paste. Okay. There we go. Wait, did I paste it twice?
All right. Okay. There we go. I got it. Okay.
That's not the same article, but it's going over how they because they've been getting support to petition against it, obviously. So there's plenty of them trying to halt the whole thing, so they don't lose their historical sway over the National Guard. Let's see. Oh wait, this one.
I am putting it in right now.
Okay. Awesome amendments. Okay.
Okay, so lawmakers ask Armed Services Committee to keep the governor's authority over National Guard.
Oh, wait. I found the Air and Space Forces. Okay, I found the actual one. Okay, I'll post it too. But yeah, it's just it's all going over the same thing though, obviously.
Okay. So should I look at the other one first?
Oh yeah, I shouldn't even interrupt it.
Okay, so a bipartisan group of senators and congressmen are asking the chairman and ranking members of the House and Senate Armed Services Committee to keep language in the annual defense bill that would give governors the final say over transferring National Guard forces to the federal government. So yeah, send me the other one first because this looks like it's yeah, you got it. Oh, you already did. I see.
Yeah, moving to Space Force. Yeah, this one specifically mentioned Space Force in the title. And of course, why wouldn't they have the Congress as the top result? That's so stupid. Yeah, the Congress one from actual Congress is right under that one, but this one looks like it's going over it just fine. Yep, yeah. Yep, this one's got it. Yeah, this is an April 29th. Good Lord, I didn't know it was. Wow. Boy, nobody was talking about that for way too long.
Sorry, I'm so struggling to do anything on this computer because it's like bogged down. Oh. So like the mouse is choppy as hell, and like I keep overcorrecting. And I can't
would you like me to read this?
It's so frustrating. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Well, it says
yes.
It's really short.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it says its governor opposes Guard units moving into the Space Force, and it's from AirAndSpaceForces.com. Governors from nearly every U.S. state and territory signed a letter sent to Defense Secretary Lloyd J. Austin III on April 29th asking him to withdraw an Air Force proposal to transfer Air National Guard units to the Space Force. While the letter does not endorse the creation of a separate Space National Guard, it does make a clear pushback against the department. Oh, this must have been the initial. Oh my goodness, this must have been the initial steps to put it into the NDAA because this is April 29th, 2024. Okay, so yeah, now that it's not just the Air Force, Air National Guard units, it's now all of them. So, anyways, but I digress. Okay, a clear pushback against Department of the Air Force plans to move all its space professionals into one service component. All told, the letter has 53 signatories. Okay. The Air Force
Okay,
proposal
gotcha. And
states
see,
no change in the
so
branch.
that's
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's
this
the
is
part that I saw too. So basically, so what it seemed to me, and I think what it is like, so any one of their departments that are related to space stuff,
mhm,
they're folding them into Space Force. And you know what that kind of sounds like to me is they can put them all in one bucket and then get rid of them all at
exact.
once. Honestly,
Right.
because
Yeah.
honestly, like
I think that's what they
so if
want to do.
Trump, so here's the thing. So if Trump is legit, like I'm hoping and praying he is, then he can't be a globetard for much longer, and so neither can Elon Musk. Okay, if they continue to be globetards like real soon, we're all fucked. Okay, there's no point in even hoping about any of the future with this motherfucker. We're fucked.
All
Okay,
right.
but maybe maybe if they start nixing NASA and start nixing like even the roles within the military that are space related, because really all they're doing is sitting around all day cutting holes in the fucking donuts. They're not doing
Yeah.
diddly squat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe that's okay. So cool. Sorry to interrupt, but that's
No,
what
no.
I got too. So that's what it seems like is the case. So that I don't think they're necessarily folding the entire. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they're folding the entirety of the National Guard into Space Force. I think
Well,
they're just taking cherry pick key roles and folding those roles into the authority or like the battalions or whatever.
I'm reading the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal. Wait, that's 2024. Wait, I've got the 2025 pulled up too. I was actually reading the act, and it looks like they're basic. They want to give federal command to the National Guard and take it away from the governors, more or less, so that
The
it's
whole
not.
thing. Okay, so there's more to it than just the one aspect. Yeah, there's so much to all these bills. That's why it's like when
Well, yeah,
Nancy Pelosi was like, "Oh, we'll let you know what's in the bill after we sign it." Like,
right,
what
right.
the fuck?
Like the Patriot Act is where
Oh
they
my
really
god.
started that shit. I mean, I know they did it before that, but I mean, what they gave the Patriot Act, what, like however many, 100 or so pages for them, like 12 hours before they were to vote on it. Yeah,
Right. No, it was more like thousands of pages, wasn't it? Like a
it
lot.
was a lot.
Yeah.
It was yeah, I was thinking 118
Or
or
like
more.
hundreds. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Well, and these
but I mean,
Congress
even
people don't
100
never
and
read that shit.
right, that one was pretty important. Definitely needed to be read. Okay,
So okay, so that's cool. Okay, so I'm glad we learned about that on in terms of the thing, but like definitely see what you can figure out on that. I'd love to know more about that. I don't think there's enough time to read through all that and figure out exactly
yeah.
what the fuck that's all about on
I'm
this
just
on the
looking at their
live show.
budget now. It looks like they're putting COVID and Ukraine and shit in their budget.
Oh yeah, COVID
Boy.
and Ukraine. I mean, that goes together like peas and carrots, doesn't it?
The two of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And they did that. In September they signed the resolution to let the military be on, like, basically getting rid of posse comitatus. I think we spoke about that before though. So now, like, if there's a extreme situation where officers' lives are in danger, the military can use deadly force against Americans. And it's like, why would you just stick that in there unless, well, it's either to throw us
Yeah.
off or to, you know.
Well, I mean, I think the reason for that is because not only are they planning a revolution, there has to be a revolution. Okay, there has to
Oh
be.
yeah,
There's got to be a revolution. But the thing is it can be like peaceful and effective.
yeah.
Although the powers that be do not want it to be peaceful and effective,
Right.
they want us to resort to violence so that they can bust out the military. But the thing
yeah.
is though, even the military is part of the 99%. Like I know a lot of people that are in the military, like they're not going to fire on American citizens for no reason like that.
No.
They're just not.
You gotta be one of those psychopath people.
Right. Well, but then also I kind of worry about NATO because NATO NATO troops would have no sort of affinity towards American people at all. So.
Well, technically, I know almost unless it's a sheriff, all police forces here in the United States are technically either NATO or just foreign. I can't remember exactly how it goes. A lot of them are considered NATO though, which I didn't know for the longest time. Yeah, they're all for just like when they
I heard something about that. I'd
kangaroo
love
courts
to
or whatever. Yeah, it's all like foreign courts because it's under maritime law instead of the law of the land. That's where that
right.
Yeah, which is a little. But I didn't know the cop shops were in on it too. But yeah, unless it's a sheriff, they're pretty much considered foreigners as well, which makes it all of that shit illegal. All that good stuff illegal.
Well, yeah. Okay, so let's bounce back to the ISS because basically, so what this article on Space News is saying, there's an air leak on the ISS, right? And we all know what happens when they have a leak on the ISS, and they just have a leak. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But you know, what happens if you have a leak on an airplane? You know, a pressurized cabin on an airplane. You know, I think I'm gonna pull
supposed to be to a vacuum, for God's sakes. Yeah, you'd be effed in the A. Is what you'd be.
Yeah, you really would. So as a matter of fact, can you try to see Kristen, please? Because I can't do functionally anything right now.
Absolutely.
I can't do my mouth. But if you can try to find a video like of a pressurized cabin of like a jetliner or something, where they just open a window, or like a bird crashes into the fucking the windshield or something.
I got you.
And I can describe kind of what happens even in the pressure differential of an airplane, which is, you know, if it's 30,000 feet, you know, there's lower pressure at that height.
What about the bells, the underwater bells? Did you ever hear about well, there's 4 of them. The one guy actually did live. He was severe. I mean, he barely lived, but somebody accidentally opened the door before the other one was sealed, and they all imploded more or less, except for the one dude. The one dude was lucky enough, maybe lucky enough.
Well, so that's a similar principle, but like it's the opposite, right? So like exactly. When you're in space, you're in a pressurized cabin. Like if you was to puncture that thing, it would fucking explode. Like it would not explode. It would implode. Like it would be. No, wait a minute. Hold on. I gotta rethink this. It would be bad. Yeah. So like all this shit would want to suck out, and like it would be catastrophic. It would be like an explosion, something. It would be.
It would be.
Like from the very bottom of the ocean to above the.
The very bottom of the ocean to It's like going from all those atmospheres to just. Yeah. And hence why the bins is so. I mean, you got to be careful with that too. But here, let me get this video. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But so like, and see, that's the thing. Like, there was that very now infamous Don Pettit video where that YouTuber, like, he's showing him the cupola, or maybe it was the I can't think of the name of the cupola, whatever the fuck it is. But he's showing him how they open and close the hatches on it. And he's telling them they just have little like O-ring seals.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous because you're dealing with pressure differentials. Like a super high vacuum in space is what they're claiming it is.
Vacuum, dude. Why would
you're in a pressurized cabin? Like you just can't have O-rings.
No,
right? It's crazy, dude. Like, but so okay, so now. So now they're having a disagreement between Russia and America. This disagreement was brought to light during a brief meeting of NASA's ISS Advisory Committee, November 13th. So this is like a couple days ago. They recounted a meeting of that committee with its Roscosmos counterpart in Moscow in September to discuss issues with the station. The major concern has been a small but persistent leak in a vestibule of the. Can you mute yourself, Kristen? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, absolutely.
You're good. Thank you. Okay. So the major concern has been a small but persistent leak in a vestibule of the Zvezda. Here, let me share my screen so y'all can see this word. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a damn Russian word. I love Russian words, but I don't speak Russian. Hold on. My fucking computer, I swear. Okay, here we go. NASA and Roscosmos. Отлично, спасибо. Come on, baby. I'm like trying to fucking fish my mouse over to the button I needed to click. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So
hey, don't forget you have a touch screen.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's right. I do forget. Okay. The major concern has been a small but persistent leak in a vestibule of the Zvezda service module called PRK that separates a docking port from the rest of the module. That leak has existed for several years. Separates a docking port from the rest of the module. That leak, okay, so it's just, so it's all contained. Okay, so it's a leak from one module to another. Okay, the rest of the station, they do not need access to the Progress cargo spacecraft docked to the port. Although the teams continue to investigate the casual factors for the crack initiation. And, you know, isn't it funny that the ISS has been up there all these decades, and yet the one little problem they have is a crack that doesn't affect anything. It's just kind of annoying, and they're going to blame it on the Russians. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, yeah. And, you know, the thing is, though, they have claimed that they've had punctures in the hull of the damn ISS that didn't lead to just another module, that led to outer space. You know what I mean? So anyway, so this is not exactly what we thought it was, but okay. So we read the thing. It's not really. So why is that even newsworthy? Are they just trying to make flat earthers seem stupid when they're debunking NASA's claims? Or just trying to waste our time, I guess, because that's really all they did, was just waste everyone's time. Anyways, okay. So that wasn't much then. There wasn't much of a leak then. If it's a leaking, if it's leaking from one module to another,
Hey,
it's not a leak.
all I could find was pictures of the aftermath of cabin pressure change, and so I put up the train car like implosion. Or is that?
Yeah.
Is that the? No, that's not the same fucking thing though. I'm not thinking.
It's
I
not.
mean, it's cool to watch.
Right. I mean, it's the same principles. I mean, pressure
change.
differential. Yeah, pressure differentials is like so powerful. Like,
right, because that's a
so
train
powerful.
car implosion because of the vacuum.
Atmospheric pressure.
Well, right, atmospheric pressure. Yes. It's a really quick video about a tank car vacuum implosion. That's what it was. I'm thinking, ooh, vacuum. The word vacuum.
But specifically, like, because I think it's important to show. So, like, because at elevation, you've got a pressurized cabin that's positive pressure, that's basically in sort of a vacuum. That's the negative pressure outside of the craft.
Yeah,
so a puncture in that, it's going to be different. Like, right. So you're going to start expelling pressure from the puncture.
It showed a lot of devastation.
And then things
to
are if it's right, and if it's a big pressure differentials, like the vacuum of space, they're talking about something like what, -10 torr or some shit like that. I don't know the exact, but it's like several torrs, which is huge. And then they keep the ISS at, like, I want to say like half of an atmospheric pressure, so like 8 or like 10 psi or so. This is what they claim. Dude, it would fucking explode, man. It would be like if they just had a leak going outside into space. Like they did claim that they had before, you wouldn't just have
any sort of leak of any kind, they would be fucked.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's so crazy that they get away with this shit, because I don't know.
Well, I mean, now they can't even get past low Earth orbit, so they say, because, you know, it's so painful to get back to technology to get to the moon and all that. But I mean, I can't even agree whether they went past the Van Allen radiation belt, some of the astronauts at least, but it's annoying is what it is.
So in the chat, Restoring Reality says, if Trump announces flat Earth to the public, he will consider believing that he's not one of them. Until then, he's rolling Elon Musk, so I assume he's completely full of shit. Yeah, I mean, I know, I kind of want to go there with you, man, but part of me, like, I've always held a reservation that Elon Musk could just be a regular globetard. Like, maybe he's not some nefarious deciever. Like, there are some
have
of
you
those.
seen his family lineage? They're both their family lineages.
I know.
They're in the family.
Well, and then there was this interview with a woman claiming to be one of his nannies that knew him when he was a kid. And, like, she was talking like the whole family was basically open about the fact that he was not the like beast of the apocalypse, but he was going to help to usher in the mark of the beast. And like she was saying that they all knew that back when he was just a little kid in like diapers and shit. So I don't know, like, if you've ever seen the movie The Omen or whatever.
Talking about?
I'm talking about Elon Musk. Yeah.
Okay.
Elon Musk.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't know how true that is. I don't even know if that woman was actually his nanny, but if what she's saying is true, I mean, it actually kind of does dovetail with the whole, you know, the Neuralink shit.
See, the Zionist Jews kind of basically look at Trump as their messiah. I mean, like I said, it was 153 rabbis, I think, right before the election, crowned him the Prince of Peace. And I mean, for them to do that, that doesn't sound good to
You
me.
got a source on that one? You got a
Yes,
source?
yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Let me look.
Share that with us, please, because I am interested to hear that one too. Not that I mean, I don't pay attention to what a lot of rabbis have to say usually. However, when they start saying that, I don't know, that is kind of newsworthy, I think, isn't it? And there's a lot of non-rabbis saying the same. They've been saying the same thing like for a long time. Like he was the reincarnation of Cyrus and all this crazy talk. Like, wow, dude. But they are still looking for their Messiah because they believe that that the prophecies weren't fulfilled quite enough, and so they're looking for somebody who is not Jesus. Basically, anybody who's not Jesus, as long as it ain't Jesus, they're cool with it for whatever reason. I don't know. Restoring. Oh, I'm sorry. A Canadian Q-lude. It says number 624. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Amen, man. Damn right. Restoring Reality says they'd instantly implode if there was even a pinhole leak. Right. Explode. Yeah, they would implode if they are underwater, right? Because you've got all that pressure of the ambient water pushing in. But in space, there's nothing holding that shit together, allegedly, according to them. Like, I don't believe in the vacuum of space. According to the lying Freemasons of NASA, it's the vacuum of space. But, they're the ones saying that they have these pinprick leaks. There was one, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago where it made the news circuits. They had this pinhole leak. And then one of the lying astronauts used like the cover of an album to represent the idea of this leak. And then flat earthers ran with that. And it was all debunked because it was the picture of an album cover, not the actual picture of the leak from the ISS, right? Frankly, because there is no such thing as the ISS. There is no such thing as the vacuum of space. And if there was, there would be evidence for curvature of the Earth. Right? Quite simple, isn't it? Okay, so do we figure out if
it
they're
was
actually
7 or 8 months
the...
ago that they did. Oh, sorry, it was 7 or 8 months ago that the
Jewish
so,
and you're talking
Heritage
about
the Heritage Foundation gave him a menorah and named him Prince of Peace. And I think that was right about the same time they mentioned that coin of him and Cyrus on the coin or whatever.
And what about the crimson, like the red calves or something like that too, like the
the red heifers?
About the fucking...
Well, yeah. I just heard the other day that they started building the third temple, which I mean, I think the one they're talking in the Bible is us, like the body, human body. But yeah, they apparently have started rebuilding third temple here just recently. Israel Heritage Foundation.
I'm pretty sure they broke ground on it a long time ago, but yeah, they
were waiting for the red heifer and all that shit.
Yeah.
After and call him the appreciation of the Abraham Accords 3.5 years after the signing and call him Prince of Peace. Yep, and it happened. That was on March 11th, 2024. That was written, and that was a post by the Israel Heritage Foundation, the IHF. On X.
Honestly, I say bring it because, like, I don't have a whole lot of reservations for this world. Like, I mean, I'm not like I don't have a death wish or anything, but I'm not gonna miss it terribly when I'm gone. And the thing is, though, like I say, bring it because I like this all this shit is not gonna end until the Most High deems it's time to end. And like whatever systems we have right now that are just so evil, so corrupt, so like anti-human, like this stuff has to go. Okay, and so if these people want to start bringing this stuff about by like doing what they're doing over there to the Palestinians in Gaza and Lebanon and all over there. They're playing with fire, man. Like I don't want to say too much about that. I really don't want to talk about it. It's just it gets my blood pressure too fucking high. But anyways, sorry.
No, by all means, I definitely go on a rant about that too. So I don't know. They're calling him the Zionist. They're calling him Prince of Peace. I don't trust that shit at all. And they've got him on a coin with Cyrus. I mean, which doesn't necessarily itself mean horrible, horrific things. Because I mean, I guess Cyrus. Well, the thing with Trump is it's 70 years that they, like in the Bible, what's it, 70 years that the Jewish people were, well, the Hebrew people were expelled until Cyrus let them back into Jerusalem or whatever. And apparently it's been 70 years now since Jerusalem or Israel was made, was given back to them after World War II or whatever. So it's like Trump is in the you know how they are with numbers and all their horse shit and occult business, and how important it is for the time periods to line up and all that, or at least it seems to be from what I've noticed. So I don't know if that has necessarily anything solid to do with it, but it sure seems like something they would pay attention to. But like Trump's birth date and Trump's mom and all that shit lines up. That's a whole other ball of insanity. Yeah. I don't trust him.
What is his birthday? I don't know what his birthday is.
Well, he's got a lot of 57s in his and around 57 is one of those occult numbers. And what was it 1957 he was born, I think. Oh man.
Oh, and
Casey Preventer the Stars does a great breakdown of it. He does a great breakdown of it. I mean, he's covered more about Trump and pointing out all these occult synchronicities. And oh man, I've watched so much hours and hours of him going through it. Him and Tesla too, the Trump and Tesla, Trump family and Tesla connection, and it's pretty interesting. He does a great job of it. If anybody wants to really get the lowdown, Enter the Stars. Casey does great videos on it and really breaks down the whole Trump family business.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen, but I will check it out. I didn't realize, so Restoring Reality in the chat, that's actually Brad. We were going to try to have Brad on this evening, but I couldn't do any sound checks with him on time. And so we were starting right when I finally got a hold of you, brother. So we'll get you on the next one. But honestly, like we've done covered everything that I was planning to cover today. We done got through. Unless you had anything you wanted to talk about, Christian, I'm gonna wrap this one up right at an hour. Like it couldn't have gone no more perfect than an hour on the dot. So
I mean, I could probably rant about some things, but nothing that needs to be ranted about right this second.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm sure we'll get at least either Lewis or Brad or Dave. We got other people that all really want to join the show. It's just kind of falling through every time. So eventually we'll get some other guests on and hang out with you guys, and we will see y'all very soon. This has been the Morgue. And Kristen, anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, we're good to go. Love you, chat. Love you. Good seeing everybody. Hope I wasn't too annoying. That's what I want to say.
You're good. We'll love you guys. Be good. Bye.